Welcome back to the Hip Replacement Podcast. I'm Chris Bystransky, your host. I'm also 10 years past one of my hip replacement surgeries and 12 years past the other hip replacement surgery. I've learned a lot, and I'm here to share with you what I've learned over the last 10, 12 years. And we've got something great today. In this episode, I'm going to share the tools that I've used throughout my recovery, the initial recovery, the first couple of months after surgery, and that I continue to use today. So I have stuff all around me, and I refer to these things as toys. Okay, they're kind of recovery toys. Now, I'm going to be talking about these things, and I will describe them the best that I can, but this is a great opportunity to let you know that we do have a YouTube channel. Now, there's something new, so I'm announcing it right now that we do have a YouTube channel. Some of you may actually be already watching on YouTube, but some people may be listening on their favorite podcast platform. But we do have a YouTube channel, and you can go and watch the video so you can see all of the things that I'm going to show you. But I will put links down in the show notes so you can click on them and see what everything is. Anyway, so you can listen on the podcast platform or go watch on YouTube, all right? Either way, it's going to be great. So welcome to everybody to this episode. Now, a lot of these things I've used for years. Some of them I used heavily immediately after the surgeries, and some of them I picked up later and I continue to use today. So I'm going to throw a lot at you. Don't get overwhelmed. It's not like I went out on one day and picked all this stuff up. This is 10, 12 years in the making of accumulating stuff to help in the recovery process. Now, I did go through a lot of physical therapy, and a lot of the things that I'm going to show today or talk about today were used in the physical therapy clinic with physical therapists. So whether I'm describing an exercise or describing a tool that I've used, it likely came from there or from a trainer or from other type of experience that I've had. So let's go. The first thing I want to talk about is one of the stretches that I learned in physical therapy. So I had the anterior hip approach to my hip replacements, meaning they went through the front. And I'm pretty active, walking, jogging, cycling, golfing, and the front of my hips get tight. I mean, I have big, relatively strong legs. I grew up playing hockey and baseball, so my legs are pretty big. And the front of my legs gets pretty stiff. So I have to focus heavily on stretching that area. And even if you don't do a lot of those type of exercises, or you don't have the same background that I have, maybe the front of your legs, the quadriceps, and maybe the sides, the IT bands get tight. Well, this first stretch I'm going to talk about, and what I used is straight out of the physical therapy clinic. So I would lay on the physical therapy table on my back, and I would scoot over as much as I could without falling over, and I would let one of my legs hang down. All right. And what that did was that would stretch the whole front of my leg up through my hip and into my abdomen. And that was absolutely fantastic. I still do that stretch almost every day. All right. It feels amazing. And yeah, every day, maybe 2 minutes on one side and 2 minutes on the other side, and I'm gone. And sometimes I do that more than once. Now, I don't go into the physical therapy clinic to do that, obviously, so I have to find something else around my house to do that stretch on. Things I've used over time are my kitchen table. I did that for years, and then I realized, maybe I should not be laying on the kitchen table. I'm a pretty big guy, about 220 pounds, and I probably laid on the kitchen table a little too many times. So I found something else. I do it on a dresser now. So I've got big, long dresser in the bedroom, and I literally sit up on a dresser, and then I rotate and I let one of my legs hang down. So the first tool that I use is the dresser. I can do this a little bit on the side of a bed, but our beds are not that high that I can let my leg hang all the way down. And this is not an exercise you want to do unless you've worked with a physical therapist or you're well past surgery and you don't have any concerns about stretching too far. All right. So use a bed or a dresser and let that one leg at a time dangle off on the side of the dresser or a bed, or maybe a table. Maybe you do have a physical therapy table in your house. All right. So there you go. That's number one, a bed or a table or a dresser to help stretch that front by hanging off the side of the table, bed, or dresser. Don't fall. Don't go more than half of your body hanging off, because you will fall. Maybe like 25% of your whole side of your body hanging off, and just let that leg dangle to get a great stretch. And I hold it for maybe a minute or two, and then I go on to the next side. Now, some of you may not be that far past surgery, or you have concerns about, hey, if I let my leg go all the way down, number one, I don't want to drop it. Or number two, if I go all the way down, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all the way back up. Completely valid concerns. And that's why we have tool number 2, which is called this is just a green strap. I guess it doesn't matter the color, but this one happens to be green. This is called a stretch out strap. And it's maybe 6 feet long. I don't know if you can see end to end. But what's cool about this is it has loops everywhere throughout the whole strap. And I got this I got this concept directly from the physical therapist. And then I just picked one up on Amazon or wherever. But this was probably the first thing I got, the first thing that I bought to use. Now, what's great about this is that not only can I use it to do a range of stretching, but you can also use this as like a little lasso to put around your foot. You put this around your foot and you can gently lower your foot down off a bed or off a table or off a dresser to do the stretch. Or more importantly, what I also use this for was shortly after surgery, when I was getting in and out of bed, I wanted to gently lower my leg down or gently lift it back up. I would simply lasso this around my foot and then pull up on the other side, and I could gently get in and out of the bed. This was amazing. It was a game changer. Again, the links will be down in the show notes. But this is probably, out of all of the things I'm going to show you, this, I would say, was indispensable over the first 6 months after surgery. I still use it today once in a while, but the first 6 months, absolutely critical to use this kind of thing to get in and out of bed, and then also do that stretch. And honestly, when I was in the physical therapy clinic, the physical therapist wanted me to do that stretch way earlier than I was comfortable doing it. But they showed me how to use the strap to slowly lower my leg down off the side of the physical therapy table so I could do that stretch. I mean, I probably started doing this stretch 3-4 weeks after surgery. I thought it was too soon, but I did what they wanted me to do, which is fine. But absolutely love this guy. And not only that, you can use it for a whole range of stretches. And I still do it when I'm doing rotational stretches. I use this thing to hook around my leg, and there's different stretches to do where you're wrapping it around your knee and you're able to torque the leg and the hip both internally and externally to get some rotational stretches. Absolutely great piece of equipment right here. So I'm literally surrounded by rehab toys right now. Okay. The next thing that was used, and this also happened in the physical therapy clinic, was this is a roller, okay? It's got a handle, orange handles on each side, and then the middle rotates. And I would be laying on the physical therapy table, and then these big burly men and women in the physical therapy clinic would lean onto me and roll my legs out. So imagine my legs, my quadriceps are like a big pile of dough, like you're rolling out and you're getting ready to bake, and they would just really dig in there. And what that did was it really stretched out the muscles for me, and it eased some of the inflammation. And I tell you what, it hurt initially, but then they could not push hard enough for me to get relief the relief that I wanted. So this is absolutely wonderful, and you can do it by yourself at home. I got one of these to use at home. It's called a tiger tail roller, and it literally just works like a rolling pin. So you could sit in a chair and just roll your legs, the front, the sides, the back, and it works. Now, the limitation of this is that it's difficult to dig in deep with this guy, all right? Because you really have to push hard in there. And over time, at the beginning, it's fantastic because it's just the right amount and you can control it and add a little more pressure as you get farther away from surgery. But again, this was used on me by physical therapists initially, and then I got it at home to use, and I was able to apply the appropriate amount of pressure. But over time, it became a little obsolete because I needed more pressure on these things. So tiger tail roller, great for 6 months. After that, I could not dig in enough. Now, I needed something to replace this because this felt terrible at first, and because my muscles were not used to it, and then it felt absolutely wonderful. But I needed something stronger, and I'm going to go into a series of rollers that I picked up to really help me. So instead of sitting in a chair using a tiger tail, all right, I went and bought several different types of foam rollers, and you'll see these in every gym. Okay, so I have a bunch of different foam rollers. This was the first one I got, and honestly, this one's a little too long. This is 36 inches. It's way too long. 24-ish is about the right length, so that'd be about that long. What this does is it stretches out I use this a lot on my legs, on the IT bands, and on the front of my legs, and on my back, my up and down my legs on the front, the back, the outside, and the inside. And these kind of things were critical to allowing me to stretch and really create a little space in my hip, because the problem that I'm dealing with all the time is that the front of my hips get really tight. The front of my legs get tight, and they seem to compress the front. And if I don't stretch the front and exercise the back, it feels like the space. So if here's the top of my femurs and here's the socket or the cup, it feels like it's just too compressed. But if I stretch the muscles, it feels like I have more space. So I'm in a constant, I don't know if it's a battle, but I'm constantly stretching the front and strengthening the back to have that space that feels comfortable and lubricated so I can move around and do whatever I want. So I'm constantly stretching the front of my hips. I started with this general foam roller, and it's smooth, it's relatively firm. If you use this kind of roller a lot, what it does is it kind of softens up wherever you're using it, and it's not as effective. So I went from this, and if you see these in gyms, they start like this, nice, and then over time, as people use them, they kind of turn into an hourglass shape because they get thin in the middle because people are putting their weight on top of these. And there are plenty of videos online on how to stretch your legs and your body using one of these things. Again, if you've worked with a physical therapist, check with your physical therapist to see if this is appropriate for you. And just make sure you're far enough from surgery that you're not going to do any damage to the hip. With any type of roller, the purpose is to stretch the muscles. So you only touch the muscles with these things. You don't touch the joint, all right? So you don't get the hip on this or the knee on this or the ankle on this. This is only for the muscles, all right? But if you loosen up the muscles, the joint is going to feel a little bit better. All right, so this was not good enough for me because I needed something to dig in. The muscles in my legs are pretty big, and I needed something to dig in, so I went a little extreme over time. So I probably used this guy for a year, and then I needed something a little more powerful. So I went with this guy, and I don't know if you can tell, but well, let me just describe. This blue one, this original one, is smooth. All right, it's firm and it's smooth, and it's just round. It's just a round cylinder. Think of like a can of vegetables, but just long and probably 3 times the width. All right, so there you go. Maybe it's 6 inches in diameter, and this one's about 3 feet long. It's too long. This next one I'm holding up is like 30 inches long, and this is called a rumble roller. This is a specific type of roller that has beads or knobs or spikes in it. Now the spikes have a little bit of give to it, but this is going to dig into the muscles a lot more than the smooth blue one I'm holding up, okay? They're still the same shape. The blue one's a little bit longer, but same diameter, about 6 inches. And you get on the floor and you basically put your weight, you lay down on the floor and you put your leg wherever you want to stretch on top of this guy, and you roll back and forth. And there are plenty of videos online to help you or talk with your physical therapist on how to use one of these things, all right? Again, these are muscles only, never, ever, ever, ever on the joints. I like this one because it's spiky and it digs into my muscles and gets me a much quicker and deeper stretch than this smooth blue one, okay? Rumble roller, this is an extra firm, the black one. This is painful at first, but after a while, it feels oh so good. All right, it's gonna take some time to get used to, but very, very, very effective. Okay, and I even have a smaller one of these. This is a small rumble roller. It's probably 1/3 the size of the black one I was just holding up. Same concept. It's actually, the spikes are actually a little softer, and this is great for travel. Fits right in a suitcase, all right? This one's about 12 inches long, whereas that black one I was just holding up is about 30 inches long. And then this blue one that I got, it's just a blue foam roller. It's way too long, 36 inches. Okay, so now we have 3 different kinds of rollers. Let's take a roller break and talk about something else that I started using. Something else that I started using that I really didn't think was that important when it was suggested to me, but I was like, wow, after I started using it, wow, this is pretty cool. And that is a watch, okay? And this is a Garmin Forerunner 945. It's just a black smartwatch. And I got this at the suggestion of a coach that I was using when I was training for my first Ironman. And honestly, I'm not a tech guy. I didn't think I was a tech guy. I still don't think I'm much of a tech guy. And I was very hesitant to do this, to get such a watch, because it does all of these things, and I was not really interested in doing all of the things. And the coach wanted me to do that so they could track my workouts and suggest the next workout or a week's or a month's set of workouts for me. Now, we actually never did that, all right? I did get the watch. I put up a fight with the coach because I thought that, you know, I have this Timex that I've had for 15 years, and it works great. I use it when I ride my bike. I use it when I swim. I use it when I run, and it tells me how long I've been doing it. And I thought that that was fine. And then I tried one of these guys, one of these Garmin smartwatches. And I was absolutely blown away at, number one, how easy it was to just put on and get information from it, but also the data or the information that I was able to get. So things like distance, how far I was riding my bike, how far I was walking, how far I was swimming, my heart rate. Okay, it's really easy just to hit a button and get your heart rate on this. So I knew when I was really working hard or overdoing it. And then it really fed into my phone. So it was linked up to my phone, and I was able to see all of this stuff on my phone. But you don't have to be training for an Ironman or training for really anything to get a lot of benefit out of this. Just to give you the distance, it has location information and just a lot of beneficial information. I was very hesitant. I thought my Timex was fine. But this blew me away when I got it and started using it and realizing how beneficial it was. And honestly, it kind of made me more motivated to go and do more because I could see what I was doing. And I could just see the progress that I was making because it has all that data stored. Now, one of the other things I like about Garmin, and I wouldn't be talking about this so much, but their customer service was absolutely phenomenal. All right. So in my first Ironman, I was obviously wearing this, and in the swim, I was doing Ironman Texas, and towards the end of the swim, it's a 2.4 mile swim. 2.4-ish mile swim. But the last half mile, the first part is in a lake. You're not going to hit anything. The second part, the last half mile is in a channel. All right. And the channel gets pretty narrow, maybe only 50 feet across, I'm estimating. And there's concrete walls on either side of the channel. And the channel bends a little bit. All right, it turns. And I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of zoned out, just swimming. And I was breathing on one side. So I was only looking on one side of my body. And lo and behold, I was inadvertently getting closer and closer and closer to the wall. Even though I was swimming straight, the channel was turning, and I hit the wall with my arm with the Garmin, and it broke the glass in the Garmin. All right. I didn't notice it until the Ironman was done. I was just so focused on doing that. The Garmin worked, the watch worked the whole time, but when I got done, I noticed that the glass was cracked, and I had some blood on my hand from where I hit the wall. Later in the day and at night, I noticed it. But I had, after that first Ironman, I had another Ironman 6 weeks later. So I called Garmin and I explained to them that my Garmin was broken, and I explained to them what happened in the Ironman. I hit a wall and broke the glass, and I asked them if the glass could be replaced. And they said, oh my gosh, listen, we can't give you a brand new Garmin for free, but for a nominal fee, I think it was like $75. They gave me a brand new Garmin. So, and they made sure I got it before my second Ironman. So very happy with them. They stood by the product and really helped me out, after it was totally my mistake. Another thing that recently happened is that this little band, I don't know if you can see, there's a little band that holds there's a little rubber thingy that holds the band in place. And it recently ripped. I mean, I've had this thing 5-6 years now, and that little thing that holds the band in place finally ripped. I called them up, and 10 minutes later, they had already shipped me some extra ones of these things for free. So now they're in the mail. This was just a few days ago. So they're in the mail, and I should get it any day. So a couple different times I've had to reach out for Garmin, and not only do I like the product, it's very helpful, but the customer service was fantastic. So there you go. So there's a little black watch Garmin that does all kinds of things. And you don't have to be a world-class athlete or training for anything to get a lot of value out of knowing your distance, knowing where you are, knowing your heart rate. So that was fantastic. Okay, now we're going to go into some big boys. We're going to go into some things now that pretty powerful. And what's great about a lot of these things is that they are eligible for HSA funds or FSA funds, so health savings account or flexible spending account fund. So if you're interested in any of this stuff and you go to buy it, there's a good chance that some, if not most of this stuff is eligible for that type of payment. So great news for there. All right, so I'm going to bring up another one of my faves. This is a roller. This is a hard roller, and it's short. It's only about a foot long. It's the same diameter, maybe about 6 inches as the other 3 that I showed, but this one does something magical. All right. It has a little texture to it. And again, what you would do with this is you would lay on the ground and put your muscles that you want to stretch on top and gently roll back and forth. But this thing does something extra that the other 3 do not do. You can turn it on and it vibrates. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone. It has 3 different speeds. And what this does is that it vibrates the muscles. And to me, it helps recover faster and helps to really go after knots in my legs, in my quadriceps, and my IT bands. Now, I don't get anywhere near my hip, my knee, my ankle with this, but I will lay this on the ground, and I will lay on top of this on my IT band, which is the outside of my upper leg, or on the front of my quadricep, or even my calf. And it feels a little awkward at first, but it feels incredible once you get used to it. And I use this a couple times a week. It doesn't take much. Again, keep this away from joints because of vibration. I'm not sure it's excellent for joints, but if you get it on the muscles, the vibration will go up gently into the joints, which feels fantastic. This is called the Hyper Ice. Hyper Ice is the company, and the Viper 2.0 is this. They're probably on Viper 5.0 or 6.0 by now. This is several years old. But again, I will put a link to this down in the show notes. Super cool gadget. Absolutely love this thing. All right. Now we're going to continue on to the big boy toys. The big boy rehab toys. Now, what I'm holding now is a percussion massager. It looks like if you're not watching, it looks like a cordless drill, okay? And it's pretty heavy. Not that heavy, but it has a rechargeable battery. All these things are rechargeable batteries. Anything that moves is a rechargeable battery. And what it does is it has this head on here, this ball head, and it comes with several different attachments. And you turn it on, and so if you can see it online, see it on YouTube, or hear it on a podcast, what it does is it vibrates in and out really fast, and you can really target your muscles where you need it. So you could be sitting in a chair, okay, and if your IT bands on the side are sore, or they have a knot, or you need to stretch them a little bit, you can sit in a chair and just do this and rub that against your leg and directly on where you need it the most on your muscles. I use this almost every day for just a couple minutes. IT bands, quadriceps on the front of my legs, calves, lower part of my legs. Absolutely love this thing. This is from Hyper Ice as well. This is the Hypervolt Plus. This is probably 3-4 years old. I'm sure they're way past this technology. But the reason I wanted this one, there's other brands out there. I wanted this one because it was the most powerful and the battery lasted the longest time. But there's options out there. Absolutely love this thing. Hyper Ice, Hypervolt Plus, but this is several years old. Okay. Oh, this comes with a carrying case and different attachments for the head. So I've taken this with me to different endurance events and absolutely love it. Okay, now, probably the biggest thing right now, not like the most important, but the biggest thing that I use right now inside the house are these Normatec boots. Okay, now, these things, and I'm holding up a boot, it looks like a big boot that goes up all the way into your, well above the knee. And I first saw these at an endurance event I did called 29029. And that was a mountain hike where you try to ascend a mountain over and over again. So you hike up, take a gondola down, and hike back up until you get to the accumulative height of Mount Everest, 29,029 feet. So there was a break room or a rehab room, and they had a bunch of these sets of these boots lined up that people could put on to relax and help refresh their legs. So I never saw these things before in my life 4 years ago, and 4 years ago, and it took me 15 minutes to figure out how to use them, but it turns out it's super duper easy. And I put them both on, and I sat in a chair in a recliner, and what it does is there's these pockets of air, little pockets surrounding the boot all the way up, and they fill with air, and what they do is they compress your legs. They compress the muscles in the boot compresses, fills up with air, and therefore compresses the muscles. So it's like therapy or a massage for your legs. And what I loved about this was that after 10, 15, 20 minutes of doing this, I would get up and my legs felt fantastic, because it increases the blood flow, increases the circulation. And in my mind, I haven't measured this, but I think it reduced the inflammation. Again, I've never done any scientific study, but to me, my legs felt better and more refreshed after I had these things on. So when I got home from that event, I love these things so much that I went and I called them up and ordered a set that I could use at home. So this is probably a once a week thing because I do have to take them out, but I sit in a recliner and watch a little TV, watch a movie with my wife or with my kids, or late at night, and I'll just put these on. And very, very comfortable. And you can set the different amount of pressure on how much the boot is going to fill up with air and for the amount of time. So love these things, have full control over it. And yeah, these are fantastic. Again, they come in a set, 2 pairs, and a pump to pump them up. Great for the legs. So there you go. So those are the things that I had. I talked about a dresser. I talked about the stretch out strap. I talked about the tiger tail roller, 3 different types of foam rollers, the big blue one that's smooth, the textured spiky long black one, extra firm, and then a little softer, shorter one, a blue one. And then I talked about the Garmin watch, the Hyper Ice Viper 2.0, the roller that vibrates, then the percussion massager where I can target my legs exactly where I need it, and then the Normatec boots. So a lot of these tools, these toys, I call them, are very helpful, and they've been very helpful from my initial recovery, even now, 10, 12 years past my surgeries. So I'll post the links in the show notes if you want to check these things out. These are affiliate links, meaning if you click through and buy something, there's no additional cost to you for that, but the company does give something back to me, which is very helpful to support the podcast because there is a cost to post and host these episodes and all the technology that we use. So, but no additional cost to you. But I use all of these products. I bought and paid for all these products and used them for years. So I support them, and that's why I'm sharing them with you, because number one, they work. I've used them for a long time, and I think you'll get, if you use them, I think you'll get benefit out of those. So that's it. I hope this has been a pretty long episode. I hope you're still here. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. And, I look forward to sharing a lot more details. And if I pick anything else up, I will definitely share that with you. If it helps me, my logic is that maybe it will help you. So I would share it with you. But that's it. That's it. Thanks again so much for tuning into the Hip Replacement Podcast. Again, we have podcast episodes on your favorite podcast platform and also the YouTube channel, links in the show notes. And until next time, I wish you the best recovery possible. Take care.